Aaron, I am so sorry about Lawrence and Garth yet again. You really shouldn't have to deal with this.
I bet they learned their lesson.
They sure did. Oh my Irene. Too bad, I guess. I was really looking forward to that kissing scene.
Oh.
They sure did. Oh my Irene. Too bad, I guess. I was really looking forward to that kissing scene.
Oh.
They sure did. Oh my Irene. Too bad, I guess. I was really looking forward to that kissing scene.
Oh.
About to tell a story using machinima. As someone who has been telling story using machinima for a lot of years, I can say that I have some interesting advice to give you. If you're interested in doing machinima on YouTube, here's some advice for you.
Don't do it.
I'm just kidding. That's not the advice. That's not helpful at all. That's just no. Now, like I said in the beginning, which was a total jumbled up mess, I have been doing machinima on YouTube for quite some time. And for those of you who know my channel, you know that Minecraft is the primary way that I tell my stories. So today, I just kind of wanted to go over the 3 types of medium that I've had experience with and give you the pros and cons of them. However, before we jump into that, what I wanted to talk to you guys about was the fact that machinima is not the only storytelling medium that is out there. There's obviously a ton of ways. For example, you can use animation, which is crazy and amazing. Another way is to tell animatics, which are it's just putting pictures together to tell a story, and it's obviously much more complicated than that, but it's a way to tell a story using a different type of medium aside from machinima. Another way to tell stories is that you can obviously write a book. I mean, that's how you're going to tell your story anyway. You have to write it in order to tell it, even if you are using machinima or another type of medium to tell your story. It's also very therapeutic to write a book, and it takes a while. There's also other forms of animation such as stop motion, 3D, and of course, if you want to go like the traditional route, the traditional YouTube route, you can always use like just a regular camera, your friends, and your script to tell a story in real life. Now granted, all of the mediums that I just mentioned, including machinima, all take time. They take preparation, they take knowing what you want to do with that, especially given the medium, you're gonna have to know how to work with that medium in order to tell your story, which is something that we're going to get into right now with machinima. So machinima, for those of you guys who don't know, I'm gonna sum it up just very briefly. It's basically using another form of software in order to tell your story. And usually this form of software, when it comes to the term machinima, tends to be video games. So let's go into machinima now. So like with all the other storytelling platforms I had mentioned, just know that machinima has its pros and its cons, and they all vary based on what you want to do. And again, I don't want people to look at this and be like, well, machinima is the way that I need to tell my story because that's how Aphmau said it and she's right, so I need to listen to her. No. Please don't think that you need to do machinima to tell your story. Again, this is just advice that I want to pass on to see if this will be helpful for you. You can honestly do whatever medium that you are most comfortable with. What I'm about to share with you guys is just my own experiences and my own opinions on telling stories on YouTube, because that's how I've been telling stories for a while. Getting into it, it's a great way to kind of just jump into the YouTube space in terms of storytelling and get a feel for what it's like to produce this kind of content. So after all that rambling, you're probably asking me, why machinima? Why am I going to pick machinima over all the other forms of storytelling that you were telling me about earlier? Why machinima? Well, one, if you're trying to tell a story and you already have your story written and you're ready to produce it, you can easily jump into a video game platform and be able to just tell it using the assets that are already provided to you. Granted, that does not necessarily mean that you're going to get a higher quality product. It really depends on which platform you are working with, because some platforms, they come with limitations. You can't make your own assets, you have to work with what's there, and it's very difficult to work with some platforms in terms of filming. So let's talk about the kind of platform that you want to use. So I'm gonna be talking about Minecraft, Gachaverse, and Roblox in this video. I put up 4 fingers, I don't know why. But I'm gonna be talking about those 3 platforms later on in the video because they're the ones that I have the most experience with. But I've seen people do machinimas in The Sims, Skyrim, and obviously there's the oldest form of machinima that I think most people on the YouTube platform know of. It's by Rooster Teeth, and it's using Halo. It's called Red vs. Blue. But this is like the oldest form of machinima I know. I'm sure there's others out there who have been around for just as long. I just don't know of them as much much as I do red versus blue. There are a ton of games out there for you to choose from. However, the ones that I want to talk about right now are the ones that I'm most experienced in, which are Minecraft, Roblox, and Gachaverse. And granted, I am more experienced in one over the other two. However, I've delved in these platforms before. I kind of have an idea of how they work. I get like the general like how you push them in terms of YouTube videos. So I just want to talk about the pros and cons of each one and see if it helps you guys try to tell your stories. Okay, so the first one that we're going to talk about is Gachaverse. The reason we're going to talk about Gachaverse first is because it's the one I have the least experience with. Now, I've done a video reacting to Gachaverse videos before. However, I actually started to delve deeper into it and kind of get an idea for the platform. Now, there's multiple forms of the platform. You can get one on your phone, which is kind of like a pay-to-win model, where in order to get outfits, you have to pay for them. And in my opinion, as someone who has told machinimas before, it's kind of a really sucky way to get outfits because it doesn't make a lot of sense. You're kind of spending money to tell a story that you could easily tell with any other platform for free. There is a PC version that is available, and if anything that I'm going to say isn't true, then I'll correct it here in like the side. But the last time that I checked it out, it was in a work in progress function where they were still trying to make it look a little bit nicer. And I believe a lot of the machinimas that you see using Gachaverse are done on computer, at least some of the crazier machinimas. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is that Gachaverse is strictly in 2D, and that's not a bad thing per se. However, you do kind of miss out on some interesting shots. For example, if you wanted to show an around shot of a character, like if you wanted to show like a character standing here and then like another one over here, but with the camera panning in the background, you can't exactly do that. You're very much limited to 2D. And again, that's not a bad thing. It's just you have to understand this limitation before you go into it. I'm hoping in the future that they make it so it's open source where you can kind of import your own assets into it, like your own backgrounds, your own like character pictures. That would make it even better, but that's just something that I'm hoping for the future. And again, maybe that's already out, info box? Maybe? But if it's not out, hopefully that's something that they implement in the future. A pro about Gachaverse, however, is if you're looking to produce something as a one-man army, this is probably the best platform out of the others to use in order to tell stories as a one-person creator, because I feel like you can tell a story a little bit quicker in Gachaverse than you can in Roblox, where you may have someone like a body actor that you have to have play another character, because you obviously can't have two, you can have many computers next to each other, but having to run and make sure that each of the computers and characters are moving at a certain time, it's very difficult. So Gachaverse is the way to go if you want to do like a one-man army, I'm going to be telling my story by myself kind of method. In my own personal experience, it is the easiest one to do by yourself. And that's saying a lot because it's a very powerful platform at the moment. There are tons of Gacha Life, Gachaverse videos that are doing very well right now. And they can be very entertaining too at the same time. And sometimes they're very hilarious to look at. And they're, in my opinion, just very intriguing. Just be aware that there's going to be limitations in terms of the kinds of shots that you can do, because you're working with 2D. You're not gonna get all the cool shots. So instead of getting shots that are like this or sideways, you're gonna get shots that are just straight on like this. And that's not a bad thing at all. It actually pushes you to work with your limitations. And sometimes the best stories can come from the craziest places. So if you're interested in that, I say give it a shot. It's definitely something that you can do as one person, though it might take a little bit more time. So working in teams may be highly preferred, but if you're looking to, again, do it by yourself, I think this is probably the best platform out of the three that I'm talking about. So go for it. Now let's talk about Roblox as a platform to tell your story. Roblox has a ton of crazy features, and honestly, I've seen so many crazy games and so many crazy like game modes made using the Roblox Studio editor. Now, if you're super into that, if you're super into the editor, you can make your own models, your own assets, your own creations, basically your own game. You can have a giant platform to just do a bunch of crazy things within Roblox. You can even make your own Roblox character look completely different. They can either be like super crazy looking, or they can just be a model of something different. However, I just want to put it out there that I've made a roleplay before in Royal High, which is a game within Roblox that somebody else has made. And it was really fun because there were a lot of customizational options that you can do for your character, but the environment was definitely out of my control. It was something that you really had to work with. But not only that, like what I was mentioning with Gachaverse before, you can use like one person to tell a story with multiple characters in Gachaverse. In Roblox, you're gonna be very limited. You're gonna have to, one, pilot your character or the camera, and two, have body actors in order to act out the other characters, unless you're doing it in like a first-person point of view and you have other people working with you. So that way you're the camera and you don't have like a secondary camera out there. It's just strictly based on you. Roblox comes with a really big perk, however. It is highly hyped up right now. There are so many people looking for Roblox type content. They are very interested in this genre. However, it is definitely a younger audience. So if you are looking to go into the Roblox type of storytelling, you kind of have to be very, keen on what story you're telling. Roblox is a very kid-friendly platform, and it has been for a very long time, at least to my knowledge, unless it's been a different story in the past, I'm not entirely sure. But because it is a kid-friendly platform, it's gonna be harder to tell more mature stories on it. So if you're looking to, murder mystery that it has like a little bit of gore in it, this is just an example. But if you're looking to tell those kinds of stories, it may be a little bit difficult because if you're catering to a certain audience, pros is that you have like a ton of viewership and a ton of people looking for this kind of content. And the con is that you're going to be limited on what you can do and say in terms of story. That is not to say that, if you put out a Roblox video telling a story that you're gonna get like a bajillion views. That's just to say that there's currently a lot of hype around it. It's a really good platform in order to kind of like, start to test the waters. But just be aware that it's just a very different kind of storytelling that you're going to be doing. Also, a shout out to my girl Funny because I have her plush right here and I know that you guys have noticed it. So yeah, I just want to shout out to her little plushie. Go check it out. It's so cute. Thank you, Cat and Crew. It's so cute. Ah! Now we are going to get into the platform known as Minecraft. And for those of you who are very familiar with my channel, you're going to know that I've been doing this for 3, 4, 5? I'm gonna say 4 years just to be safe. Maybe it's 3, I'm not entirely sure. Regardless, I've been doing storytelling in Minecraft for the longest time, and it's been a phenomenal experience. I've seen it come from like this crazy baby infant place to like this crazy adult place where it's like super like high production kind of stuff. It's been a wild ride, and for myself, I can say that it is my platform of choice. Just because it's got a lot of different things you can do with it. When I first started doing Minecraft storytelling, I could tell you that one person could manage it because at the time, there were so many mods. There was a mod called Custom NPCs that was developed by Nopez. And the Custom NPCs mod made it so you could put like a bunch of villagers around, you could interact with them, you could have your dialogue in there. It was crazy, and it was the age where a lot of storytellers started to come out of the Minecraft community, and it was insane. So to give you an idea, when I first started, I was able to produce the roleplays all by myself. It was not easy, don't get me wrong. It was incredibly hard because having to set up all those NPCs, having to make the environment, there's just a ton of things that had to be done before something could be produced. There were times where I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna need to just roll with this set and hope it looks good. I'm gonna do that. and at the time, that was acceptable. A lot of people didn't have a lot of high expectations for like what a set should look like, how interactive the characters had to be, because I could just speak to NPCs and talk to them and be like, making up my own story as time went along. But over time, I started to really develop these characters to the point where they finally had voice actors. And that's when I started to bring in voice actors to bring these characters to life. And that's when the characters even took off even more. It was crazy. When I first started, I was in the fantasy genre, and I moved to a more modern setting. And the more modern setting, there's not like super crazy villages there. You have to have something in the background really popping and really making it interactive, because you want to see like visuals that you can relate to almost. Again, what I'm saying is not like, oh my god, like this is how it's supposed to be. It's just what I started to notice as I started to grow as a storyteller in the Minecraft genre. So the more that I saw that people were like, hey, I really liked this background, or hey, I really like this skin, I was like, you know what? I want to push it even further. I want to keep going with this platform. So eventually we started to put models into the game. We gave like the Mifwa their 3D ears and tail, and then we gave the werewolves their ears and tail, and we started to move on from there where we had like characters with floaties and stuff like that. So it just became raising the bar over and over and over, which is great, but at the same time, there are limitations to that. The more you raise the bar, the more expectation there is to pass that every single time. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, improving your craft as much as you possibly can is preferred. That being said, doing the kinds of storytelling Minecraft videos that I do is incredibly difficult. In order to produce the videos that I normally do, you need voice actors for every character, you need body actors for every character, you need sets, you need skins that which are HD, not just the regular skins. It gets insane and insane every single time. And for me, it's an accomplishment to see me come from like this small little, storyteller that I was before to this, it's great for me to see where I was and where I've come to, and learning throughout, like, because a lot of the first couple of years that I was doing this, I had a lot of like crazy stuff happen to me. Like, I was pushing myself to unhealthy limits. I was doing, things that I probably shouldn't have been doing back then. But I've learned to basically start to pace myself out and make it so I feel much more happy about what I'm producing, make it so that I've grown and feel like I've grown as a creator. Regardless, let's talk about the cons of Minecraft. Now, there are quite a few of them. One, you have to learn how to operate the mods. You have to learn what is the optimal setting for your computer, because there are a ton of crashes when it comes to Minecraft. For some reason, it's a crazy, crashy platform. I mean, there have been times where it's just like, it doesn't work and you have to like wait a while to fix it. And by wait a while to fix it, I mean you gotta go online and do a lot of research to fix it. I've been using an animator to help me create scenes that are very difficult to show in Minecraft in animation. I've been doing HD skins, which have been done by Ben of Trash, who has been an amazing skin maker. Thank you, Amy, you're the queen of skins. I have a wonderful production team who has been helping me bring these stories to life. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. I have Jason who codes, and he just puts a lot of crazy like models and like, game modes into Minecraft, and it's insane. So thank you, Jason. And then I have myself who writes, and writing can take a ton of time. I can say it's been like maybe days or weeks whenever I write. It takes that much time because you want to tell a story that you feel comfortable with, that you enjoy, and that you're happy with overall. Granted, you can do this by yourself. That's not saying that you can't, it's just gonna take a longer period of time. I can say that there have been episodes in the past where I didn't have a lot of people helping me, and I had to basically go in with Jason, and both of us had to basically film an entire episode, and it just took a bit of time, and we had to cut corners in certain places. So just keep in mind that out of all the three that I've mentioned, such as Gachaverse, Roblox, and Minecraft, I feel that Minecraft can be the most difficult depending on how production-y you want to get. If you want to go like super crazy tier, you're going to need quite a bit of people. If you want to go solo, you basically can use custom NPCs, and I recommend trying to start from there so that way you can build your way up. I think that's the best way to go about doing Minecraft content, is to start from here and then go up as you go, just so you can kind of get your comfort level gauge. But yes, so I hope that helped you kind of get like an idea for Minecraft and how crazy it can be. I have a lot more to say on it. I'm sure I could have mentioned a few other things. But these are the primary things that I feel you need to take into consideration before you start using Minecraft as a storytelling platform. And again, if you want to go and use the custom NPCs route, please do, because I feel like it's the best way to start out and then build your way up. Okay, all right. I am done running all over the place. I hope that you guys enjoyed me running all over the place, because I just didn't get that workout in for nothing. But in all seriousness, I hope that you guys enjoy what I had to say about each of the platforms that I mentioned. Again, these are just the ones that I have the most experience with. Keep in mind that if you're going to tell a story via Machinima, that there are a ton of other platforms out there. These three are not the ones that you need to be like, yeah, I have to do this. It's just, these are the platforms that I have the most experience with and that I feel can be the most easiest to jump into. The goal of this video was to make it so you have the information going forward if you're looking into these three platforms. Also, a side goal from this is that in 2019, I want to be able to convey my thoughts a little bit better, because I've always had this, I'm much better at writing than I am at talking. I'll write something, it'll be like very professional sounding, whereas in real life, I'm like, sup, like you want to talk about? I don't know what you want to talk about. So guys, hope you have a great one. Happy New Year's, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. How I should